Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face TV. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And it's free, so don't forget to spit on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification. If you clicked on this video to hear about the lawsuit filed by Desiree Perez's daughter, I need you to hit that like button. Until my spit squad, drop the word squad in the comments. Now, ROC Nation CEO Desiree Perez is facing a federal lawsuit filed by her daughter, Desiree Hadley, who alleges that Perez unlawfully orchestrated her involuntary commitment under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act portrays to involuntary treatment for substance abuse. According to the lawsuit, Hadley claims that in 2024, Perez used her influence and resources to have her detained without legitimate cause. Haley was held in a mental health facility for nearly 2 weeks. During this time, she underwent evaluation and drug tests that reportedly returned negative results. She contends that her mother falsely reported a suicide attempt and drug abuse to authorities, leading to her detainment. Hadley has reported body cam footage and medical records to support her claims. Furthermore, alleged that Perez attempted to interfere in her marriage by fabricating domestic violence claims against her husband, Javin Hadley. These accusations were reportedly not sustained by evidence, and prosecutors declined to pursue charges. An 11-page memorandum from the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office criticized Perez's allegations as false and unsupported. Now, one thing I want to point out about this is that obviously Desiree Perez's daughter is Hispanic, and Desiree Perez's daughter's husband is a black guy. So her daughter alleges that her mother doesn't like her husband because of his race, and because of that, she's been continuing to try to break them up. Now, she did say, now the daughter alleged that Desiree called him N-word with the hard ER. Now, if you know anything, as much as I love my Hispanic brothers and sisters, sometimes in some places, depending on the area, when they grew up, what they family history like, it is a lot of racism between Hispanics and blacks. And it's mostly one-sided, where Hispanics really don't like blacks. Now, one of the reasons that this situation is like this is because they've kind of felt, some of them have fell for the trap of like white people saying, oh, black people lazy, they don't want to work, they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. And some of y'all may even jump in the comment when y'all see this and say, hey, they are lazy. But Mark Lamont Hill had a great video where he talked about this. And Mark Lamont Hill said, they'll tell you you're nothing and exploit your gifts. They'll tell you you're lazy and make you a slave. They'll call you savages and have you raise their children. They'll call you dirty and have you clean their houses. So that's the okie doke. They'll tell you one thing, but to the contrary, we'll see something else totally different happen. And I don't want to dive too deep into that, but I just want to point out the hypocrisy of some of the things and point out the hypocrisy of how some white people have tricked Hispanic people into going against black people when we all come from the same islands. We all are closer in being related to each other than we further apart from being related to each other. Now, another thing about the 11-page memoranda from the Miami-Dade State's Attorney Office that basically told Perez that, you know, she was wrong for that. Honestly, she was supposed to be arrested for that and brought up on charges, but she wasn't. And even when they found out that it wasn't any drugs in her daughter's system and her daughter wasn't suicidal, they still held her, they still arrested her, and they said they were doing so because they got word from somebody higher up than them. So that's where the corruption comes in. And also how this ties into the Tory Lanez case. Desiree Perez's daughter was evaluated without even being seen by a doctor, which means that doctor fabricated documents in order to make her seem like she was suicidal to herself. So it's just a lot of things going on in this case, and I'll finish reading. Perez has denied allegations, asserting that her actions were motivated by concerns for her daughter's well-being. She maintained that she believed Hadley was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs, which justified the invocation of the Baker and Manchester Marchman Act. Perez had previously filed a lawsuit against Javin Hadley, alleging he had abused her daughter, a claim both Damari and Javin denied. So Basically, they ended up moving down to Florida to get away from her. And what she ended up doing was she ended up buying a house across the street from the house. And allegedly, she ended up putting cameras on the outside of the house and inside of the house that was pointing towards her house. I don't know why I said hammer. And then they also said that inside the house, they found listening devices that was planted there. And they don't know how they got inside of their house. As of now, the lawsuit remains active and further legal proceedings are anticipated. The case highlights complex issues surrounding the use of involuntary commitment laws and the potential for misuse of power and influence with familiar relationships. And this also has been turned into a RICO case as well. So reports including filings and public claims, the Maury Hadley lawsuit does in fact include RICO allegations. She accuses Desiree Perez and others of engaging in a coordinated conspiracy involving abuse of power and influence, false imprisonment, fabricated allegations, e.g. domestic violence, misuse of Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act. Key points about the RICO compliant. RICO laws are typically used to go after organized criminal activity, but they can also apply in civil cases if the plaintiff alleges a pattern of racketeering activity involving multiple parties. Hadley legal team claims that Perez's actions form part of an organized scheme, which they are farming under civil RICO proceedings. The lawsuit reportedly accuses Perez of using her authority, connections, and legal muscle to unjustly detain her daughter and interfere in her marriage. Now, why is this important? This is important because this seems like a lot of the stuff that ended up happening in Tory Lanez. We saw Megan Thee Stallion go to one hospital, and that hospital said they didn't find any bullet fragments. If I'm not mistaken, they took X-ray and they took a MRI. Didn't find any bullet fragments. He actually treated Megan Thee Stallion for glass cuts and lacerations, all that type of stuff, right? But then when Megan Thee Stallion goes to the second hospital, now mysteriously is bullet fragments in her foot. She's been shot. She's been treated. Now, then when she goes to the third doctor for the follow-up, the third doctor says he treated some wounds or whatever, but he don't mention anything that would consist with Megan Thee Stallion actually being shot. So you have the initial doctor visit that says nothing about shooting, just glass. Then she gets sent to another doctor. We would have to assume she was sent there by Roc Nation, and now this doctor says she was shot. Then she goes to a follow-up, which we would assume the damage have been done by the first doctor, so they don't think about sending her back to that doctor for a follow-up. She goes to a second doctor, and that doctor gives a report that's inconsistent with someone who has been shot by a gun, or who has bullet fragments in their foot, or who had bullet fragments removed from their foot. So all of this stuff kind of just lines up with the fact of Tory Lanez basically being railroaded, allegedly being railroaded by a higher power than him. If you're new to the channel and want more celebrity and hip hop content, hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the subscribe button, you're a part of the Spit Squad. So hit the like button and post squad in the comments. And for any Tory Lanez videos you may have missed, go to the playlist in the end screen. Check out my original Chicago hood movie in the end screen, No Time to Play Fair. If you into sneakers, you a sneakerhead, you love seeing the new Jordans, Pumas, whatever it may be, subscribe to Kicking It with Fair Play 2333. If you trying to follow me on my basketball journey, my weightlifting and fitness journey, and also be inspired to get back on your fitness journey, subscribe to Fair Play, Flex, and Fadeaway. Also, any of these pages I just named, you can also find them on TikTok or Instagram.